This is Justin Amazon on Thursday, April 19th, 2018. Sorry, I just had a little bit of a delay starting the video, so just making sure everything was rolling. We're looking at the pre-market from today. We left off with this massive gap up from some news yesterday, and just kind of had this upward channel here that ended up breaking down. Looked like it was going to bounce pre-market here, like it bounced, this upward angle trending up, and broke below this candle, came way down. Actually got some little bit of volume here, which you don't usually see volume spikes pre-market like that. You can very just barely see the blips yesterday's pre-market, but today's pre-market you can actually see some larger selling coming in. And it could be people getting out on positions that had been buying, or it could be people shorting. And so what's really fascinating is, just like we had the last couple of days, and I don't have the previous, I've got yesterday's pre-market or opening, but I don't have the previous days. We were right above, or right at a support line, or old resistance, new support potential. And that's what this looks like right here, that we're getting ready to open right above our 1540.45 price, and we open and actually throw in a high wave candle right on that price. The very next candle we throw in a lower wick and an inside candle, again right in that same area here. So the low was 1539.06, 1539.21. High wave inside candle with this kind of a 5-minute candle inside. I mean, you could still just trade this, 1549 by 1538, $11 range on that, and take that trade bullish, or with a breakdown take it bearish, back down into 1528. Would have had a little more than a 1-to-1, but still a decent setup. This going bullish would have been a little bit more than a 1-to-1 up to the high here, just at a glance. And so we've got a lot of bearish momentum coming in. There was a squeeze out of fire pre-market, and it just looks like it could just continue rolling down. But it actually breaks out, goes bullish, trapping anybody who shorted here, anybody who shorted on this candle at the open, and looks really similar to having a line that, or a 5-minute candle that crosses a line, a support line. That's what we got again here. So it makes sense that it pushes higher. Looks similar to this candle pushing higher without all the extra selling that brought it back to the pre-market level, because now we're actually coming back into some resistances. You're really close to the high from that spike candle from yesterday after hours, and you just keep pushing higher. So if you weren't in on any of these candles, this is too late to be buying up here. You're actually back up to this upward trending line from the yesterday's close, yesterday's aftermarket to today's pre-market, and this would be a great place to lock it in. Our next line is not even on the chart, but it's around 1578. So you could actually lock in some here, lock in a little more up there, trail your stop up, because you don't want your stop way down here. But this trade, let's see, this would have been nearly here. Yeah, this trade would have been almost a 2-to-1 right here, and just phenomenal move. This sell-off really helped catapult this higher and trapping people who sold. And then we get a big reversal candle. It's like, okay, that looks really bearish coming in. We didn't even make it up to our 1578 level up here. This could be reversing. So we get a little bit of a bounce off of the exponentials. It goes back up, and more people are loading up here. Okay, great. This was the retest people were waiting for. Get in either on the exponential, or get in above this candle, and you're up 1-to-1 if you just traded this. Anybody who didn't get out up here is looking to get out up here, for it to come back up to that level, and then it throws in a reversal candle. So let me zoom in some more on just today. Actually, I think that was too close, and I don't want to mess up the chart. Can I? Let's see. Is it this one? No. All right. I zoomed in further than I wanted to, but anyway, we'll work with it. This is a bearish engulfing candle, and with this bearish candle and then this bearish engulfing, and these two looking somewhat like bookends of a rising 3 pattern, I believe it's called. It makes sense if we come down a little bit more. And so we came down a little bit, come back into the exponentials. I'm seeing a bit of consolidation, higher, lower high, higher low right here. And this could really just be a pause and continue higher, or it could be something that's going to break down a little lower. So you get an indecision candle, makes sense. We're, looking at whichever way it could go. Indecision candle into now another breakdown of that. So this, these three, if you ignore everything before, it could look like an evening star reversal. But the fact that you paused right here at the low means that this would be a great entry bearish, 1575 by 1565, $10 range on that. That would bring you right back down into maybe a 1.5 to 1 reward down to the 1540 price. And a really small candle looking like, okay, this could be some support here, but we got some bearishness here. We've got a couple of candles in a row on some selling. Let's get in bearish below this low, or at least be looking for another place that we could be doing something. So we actually wick lower and look like it'll bounce. This is a great buying candle. We've got the bullish mindset. This could just be a little bit longer of a pullback, and nice small candle, kind of riding on this level in here, the previous low here. But that was about it. We don't have a good level till further down. Get a little bit of a flag. These candles, okay, so these three candles look like a bit of a flag, and it looks like you got your exponential 5 moving lower very quickly. Okay, this is gonna go. It starts to go. So this indecision could have gotten in below that, and now you're already up probably an R, a little more than an R down here. This is a good support, or a good place where we had some people buying, but not right now. We're below kind of this low that was established in the pre-market, then gap down. We're almost back down into this candle's range. So that could be, into the 1547 price to take a little bit of profit on that candle, and throw in a nice small candle. These small candles are great for just some consolidation. And it looks like we were going to sell down and just continue getting into the 1547.80 low inside of this candle, but not inside of this candle. This looks like a Morningstar reversal. Nice small candle, nice bearish candle here, nice bullish candle here, and pull back. These highs were really similar. These were 8 cents off from each other. Inside candle, and this is another one of those that you could get in, go bullish here with a stop down here. Since you are closer to a support level with the evening Morningstar reversal here, tighten it up here. Now these two candles being very similar, the highs were a penny off from each other, just a great consolidation, and then we have it inside. The body here is inside of these, but the wick is actually lower. It looks like it could just break down again. Now you're trapping some people buying here if it breaks down, and instead of breaking down, it actually throws in a much longer lower wick, which means people are still buying here. So people are buying here, people are buying here, people are buying here. This is a really tight range on a very strong buying candle, but it's bearish and it's engulfing this candle. So if we're still bearish here, a little more of a pullback, trap some more bulls going up and then roll down would be what I'd be looking for here. Alternatively, if you still were seeing this as a really good bullish move, this is still a great place to see. We've got this S curve, Morningstar reversal. Now we've tightened up here. you could get in with a really tight bullish trigger above these highs and a stop down in here. And mostly inside. Now we throw an upper wick. Body is still, relatively close to the insides here. This is 30 minutes now of this just sideways, non-action, non-eventful trading. And then it starts to look like it's going to rally a little bit. You're getting above this high or above these highs. You actually got above this tweezer-ish top. And it starts to break up, go higher here. And so right now we are coming into this indecision candle. This is a long candle, and so the high up here would be a good resistance, also near the high on the day, if it were to continue up to that. But we have actually somewhat of a reversal here and come back down. I'm going to move through these a little bit quicker because it just chopped around a little bit, but this would be a great place to have an S-curve. Here's another little bit of an S-curve here, so some people were probably buying in this area, not waiting to confirmation for it to get back up here. You're up a tiny bit if you got in above this candle's high. We did have a squeeze start to form and looks like it could be triggering soon, bullish to the upside. Some indecision right here. What's really interesting about this level is we had some reversing here. We have an indecision here. If you look left, you also had some resistance here, tweezer-ish top here, and then we broke this level, came back up. This almost looks like somewhat of maybe a neckline in this area, and you overshot it going past if you're looking at this. But what I like is this candle is at a place where you have some resistances already, and you're really close to this indecision candle. You're actually, I think, in the range. The low here was 1558.66, and the high here was 1558.74. So you're only a few cents into that candle's price range, and you got a nice small candle that could easily reverse here at resistance. So you could set up a trade to get in at 1556 with a stop at 1558, $3, looking for it to come back down to the 1540 price, or just give you a couple R down into the lows down in here. So let's see what happens. And this would have triggered you in bearish. You're still forming the squeeze. You're looking for a bearish trade now because you were at a indecision candle at resistance. Great place for reversal. It was a little bit further in your favor, and now it's looking like it's starting to go a little more. So now we had 25 minutes of selling. Makes sense to have a little bit of buying, and our squeeze has lost its bullish momentum. It's still forming the squeeze. I have a bit of a flag here and then a break lower, and this actually took out the low. Actually took out the low of this candle. We're right back into the lows on this Morningstar reversal. That didn't really play out so well, and got a small inside candle with some more selling. Gap down a little bit, trade back up inside here, some lower highs, a little bit of a higher move, and now this again looks, if you merge these two candles and look at this looks like bookends like we saw here on the larger candles. And still seeing this as a good resistance. Now you got some selling off. Here's a retest back. This high was back into this range, and this looks like another evening star reversal that's starting to roll down, but just choppy, just going sideways. The squeeze is still forming, now forming to the bear side, and now we've got a wick lower back down into these candles here. So this was a bearish engulfing candle here, bearish engulfing candle here, just more confirmation that, okay, bearish is looking like the right way to go. Inside candle, you could tighten up a stop. If you got in up here with a stop, probably above this high if you were going with something aggressive. So move your stop to probably a wick here, like 1557. Or if you want to be really aggressive, get it above this wick or this. And it's possible you could have been stopped out here, or you get a little more room to go. And then we get another, with this wick, we got another indecision and some more selling that comes in, and this just moves really quickly, comes right back down to these lows. If you had gotten it up here on this $3 range, you're up multiple R, probably 3R down here, and then we put in a little bit of a flag, some buying, comes back up, makes a little bigger of a flag, and now it's looking like it's going to roll over again here, but this was actually bought. And so all of this starts to look kind of similar to, the sell-off here, starting to bounce, sell-off here, starting to bounce. It doesn't quite bounce this high, but it looks like it's going there, so you're merging candles to view it that way. We did have the squeeze fire and then started to form again. And then what happened? It's not going. There we go. Now it's reversing and coming back down to the low, 1548. The next price below we have is 1540, but looks like we're actually going to somewhat double bottom, come back up. Here's a neckline. It'd be great to have a nice little bearish candle next and bounce a little bit more if we're going to reverse at this level where we saw some support come in here. And it continues to move up. It actually has 25 minutes of some buying. Comes right back up to where we had some wicks before, actually namely right here, but this time it's looking to reverse at that level, and a nice small indecision candle inside of this one, very similar to this one, and this is a bullish engulfing that looked like it was going to roll back over initially and then gets bought up, and I think it's a shaved top here, 5 cents. No, it is a shaved top here, and we're almost done with the day. But anybody who is shorting here, they are completely trapped. They probably got stopped out. This move, if you see this as being some indecision here, getting in with a move above the high and a trigger above the high and a stop below the low down here, this would have been a great move up bullish, taking out your highs here as well. And we're almost at the end of the day where we just kind of chop around with some pretty large moves into the end of the day, some larger candles than we saw earlier. So let me zoom back out and take a look. So far after hours today, it's just some chop, nothing big with a move. But we just had a hard time getting going in either direction other than this move here. This was just a slow grind lower into some indecision where we had support earlier and then another rally up that didn't even rally up as high as this one. But it was really hard to see some consolidation on this. There were some lower highs here that ended up just rolling down. There wasn't much to buy off of at this level other than coming into the price range of these candles. The consolidation here, you could have traded up, but would barely have gotten to 2R, probably wouldn't have. If you were waiting for a pullback, got in down here with a stop down here, maybe you made another R and a half to this level. It just wasn't anything sustained other than the open and then into the close. So if we take a look at the open, if you had bought on this candle as it passed above the high here, or maybe the high here, we'll be able to see on the options, so on the calls, looking at the 1575 call, maybe you bought in this candle getting above this high, that would have been probably 325, maybe 350, with a stop down below this one or this one, that would have been 2, so maybe 175. So maybe you got in for 350 by 175. That's almost $2 or $200, and then you would have moved up to 11. You would have easily gotten 2R or 3R on this trade. Then this quick move, this sell, and then rally. You could have bought down in here, but that would have been buying this level. And again, there wasn't much to tell you, okay, buy here, it's going to move back up. And then later in the day, back in here where we had a move higher, this was then a decision candle. You could have bought on the very next candle for, let's say, 225 and flipped it out, maybe at 4, probably not 425. But anyway, even this move would have been, a good move to have going back up. but again, just kind of chopped around, didn't have too much momentum to it. If we look for this being a double top, some people getting in here to short it back down here, or from this candle here. So this time is 1150, and this up here, let's see, maybe you got it on this candle is 925. So we can look at the 1550 put. It was you're losing value on the call or on the put here, and then you put in this triple bottom here, and then it starts to rally. So 925 was around in here. So if you waited for that candle to pull back, you could have gotten in on this candle or this candle with a stop down in here, and that probably would have been let's see, maybe let's say 8 by 6 possibly, so another $200, and then trade it up to 12 if you got it out of 12 or something up in here. You know, that would have been a few R. And then the other place was having an indecision at 1150, which was right here, bought on the next candle, and you could have bought for, let's say, 750 and a stop down at 650, so that would have been $100 right here, and that just kind of grinded up, came back down, and maybe you have stopped out if you were trailing a stop, but then rallied right away up into 11. So if you got in at 750 with a stop at 650 and you went up to 11, you know, that's 4.5 hour. That's, you know, a really good move on something that just grinded higher, or grinded higher in the option, grinded lower on the put. So, and then lost even more value here as this was rallying. So these are looking at some of the out of the money options for what you could have grabbed onto, and they were all still above the $100 R that we like to use, so you wouldn't be able to do absolute zero, but still would have been a good trade, good setup on some of these for some moves. Coming into the daily here, so this is a bullish gap and go, bullish retest gap, coming into some resistance up here. If we were to gap up again or rally up to that, it looks to me like this 1578 price, you know, should hold as a good resistance. Very similarly, how we had this as support, this old line, 1540.45, as old relevant value from back in here and back in here and in here. So, but the one caveat this move is so bullish coming out of this, which really looks like, you know, an island reversal, and then you've got such a strong move away from these bearish candles, and the 100 simple is way down in this area, and it looks like there's no way to get there tomorrow. That would be a phenomenal move if it gapped up, came up into this resistance, put in a double top or evening star reversal, you know, something similar to this right on that 1578 price up here, and then reversed and came back down, taking out the lows of these candles. That would be a phenomenal move if we came back down to 1500. But that would be, so this move of just going sideways, trapping all these folks, it'd be great if this came up a little bit higher and then sold off relatively quickly into 1500. That'd be a great place to have a pullback and then load up to go bullish again. But that would give us a bit of more of an S curve to be able to do that. So we'll have to tune in tomorrow to see how Amazon moves, and what kind of options we would be looking at to play on the 5 minute. Thanks. This is Justin, Amazon.